than everybody else's. I thought, at least. I was trying to find a voice, my own voice. You know. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
Occasionally, here's the thing with me. A lot of times my thought process is not linear. It's a little bit impressionistic or surreal, depending on where you're sitting. In the front, you're like, it makes no sense. In the back, it makes sense to us. Depends on where you are.
In the room, it's like a fucking Rorschach test. Which reminds me of a joke. Well, my father used to tell this joke. My father also used to say he didn't hit bottom, but he used to bang the hell out of the sides. Anyway. That's for you gentlemen that are thinking about girth. Anyway. And people are asking me now, because I'm doing okay with the dating, you know. They're like, how do you do it? And I just hang around cafes and lick my eyebrows. I love her. Whoever she is, she's fucking dogs and getting her pussy licked. I love you. I love you. Good for you. God. By the way, I'm available for Christian functions. I don't know. We all have our job to do. My job is to fuck with you. Your job is to forgive me, Christians. Anyway, here was my father. He used to tell a joke. It's not that funny, but I mean, here was my father. This is true, man. This is my father's advice to me. My father was a brilliant. He really was. He was brilliant. But because he went through the Depression, and I think he wanted to be a doctor. He ended up working carrier, and he was frustrated. I think, and he was brilliant, but brutally fucking sarcastic. Just like he was. He was like really a cynical bastard, you know. And he was. And here was my father's advice. This is how he would give me advice. This is true. Old bull and a young bull are gazing down at a field of cows. And when he thought I was like feeling my oats, when he was Jewish and he was called moxie, whenever I had too much moxie. So this is how he calmed me down. So the young bull looks down and says, let's run down there and fuck that cow. And the old bull says, let's walk down and fuck them all. and this was my father's way of giving me wisdom. This was, so if you wonder why I turned out fucked up, you can see why.
Let's stay out of the front row. Don't go near the front row with this fucker, please. We'll send 2 kids initially as scouts. And see how they react. If they stay, we'll come. If they leave, we ain't fucking going near the front row. Maybe there's a smell or some spitting. There could be HIV. Let's stay the fuck away from the front row.
Scott, this is what I wrote this song for food. Fred, Fidelity, you know Fred. When he was 15 years old, already balding, thin, basketball etched frame, continuously, nervously, banging against the box only he could see, my friend Frank robbed a Kentucky Fried Chicken with a fork. He courted the girl that worked there at her off time. Her girlfriends thought she was way off to go out with a boy that talked like an electric circuit. They had it all worked out, except she must have got cold feet on the day of the robbery because she called in sick. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in the 85-degree blue-collar melancholy sun, disguised in his brother's red and yellow striped wool ski mask, armed with a stainless steel fork, and 15 years of Catholic Italian ballgames, Frank ran into the Kentucky Fried Chicken in the corner of Butternut and Lodi, and finding no one behind the counter, he yelled to the 2 people sitting in the booth, eating their original recipe breast, "Everybody's hitting the deck!" And they looked up at him, and they laughed. The manager sauntered, too casually, out from the back room, and Frank screamed again, this time slamming his fork down so hard on the counter that he cut his own hand. And the 3 people saw the blood and the unrelenting fierceness in the eyes behind the ski mask. They knew he was serious. Through the dusty street, plate glass window, passerbys could easily witness 3 people huddled on the ground in a masked Frank. Fork ripped him in air as he jammed down the register button, grabbed $214 and fled. First time he told me me this story was 15 years later. On a blustery evening, we were broke down in the sub-zero snow this side of the Canadian border. That lonely orange U-Haul squeaking with every jet of northern icy wind provided a refuge in its cab for 8 hours. Me and Frank in the front, sharing cigarettes, leather end butts, flannel shirts that had been discarded in earlier months, summer days, come on, you snakes, as some called, shed those skins. Till I forgot behind the seats, now taken out, uses blankets and stuffed into door cracks to guard against the razor chill. After a few hours, and the boredom peaked, and the conversation snowballed and turned heated and sillier and confessional and redeeming. And Frank told me about his Italian grandmother, how she'd stare at his carved body, every inch of which was covered with the thick, rug-like hair. And she'd shake her head, Sicilian serious, and she'd moan in broken English, "Blood of the wall! Blood of the wall!" In that truck, Frank threw back his head, howled with laughter. Then he told me how he rocked the Kentucky Fried Chicken with a fork, and I screamed with laughter, a fork! A fucking fork! So hard, I actually got warm for a few minutes. When they found us, 8 Blue Bone, cold chill hours later, I was half asleep. But Frank was still doing imitations of his boyhood hero, AC/DC's Bon Scott, yelling, "Everybody with a bullet in the back!" across the Canadian snow. That was 8 years ago. Frank drives for somebody else, and I moved to Texas. We couldn't make a goal of our business in upstate New York. The bank repossessed our truck. Last night, when I was headed to the CD player, I thought I heard that truck outside beeping. I rolled that truck for half a decade. I know the sound of it and Frank's loud, impatient, black coffee and V8 juice horn blast. I was ready to ride. When I went to the window, there was no truck. And as my eyes scanned the Texas horizon, I thought I saw running behind the trees a boy. He was wearing a ski mask. He was holding a fork. For those of you that are parents or maybe thinking about being parents, I know you're seeing me and my son, my 9-year-old boy, running around here, and you're thinking, what in the fuck is going on here? But the good news, despite my unorthodox parenting skills, my son is the winner of the Academic Achievement Award for his school, people. Little medal, little certificate, right? So maybe I'm not that crazy after all. But he's precocious. My son, him and his buddy were hanging out the other day. I heard him say to his friend, "Look, there's a prophylactic on the veranda." His buddy said, "What's a veranda?"
I have a dirty joke. Where are the kids?
Yeah, it's too dirty. I can't say.
They're in the back
Later,
room.
later.
They're in the back room.
Huh?
They're in the back room.
Little kid catches his mom in the back, naked. Points between her legs, says, "What's that?" Says, "That's when the Lord hit me with an axe." He said, "Ooh, got you right in the cunt,
You got it, kid. What's wrong with me?
What I like to do is I get a blender and I put about, I don't know, a couple of kilos of Lexapro in there, and then some Prozac, and then some Benzedrine, and then a Red Bull. Put a Red Bull in there. And I blend it all up, and it's like a trail mix for me. I just let it. Hey, Mick, you got a Red Bull for a guy like me?
I have to run, Nick. For fuck's sake. Say Michael Jackson up here or some shit. You got a kid? I got a kid. Are you gonna tell him the things you did? Tell him the truth about your sordid youth. Now, if he wants to know, did you do low? Did you get high and listen to stereo? Now, Pops, what's was the first time you did a drug crime? I smoked my first J on my 11th birthday. High school exams. How'd you stay up to read? Kid across the street, dealt excellent speed. What classes as boring as mine are today? Most of the time I was tripping, I really can't say. Dad, let's see how truthful you are. Were you ever high behind the wheel of a car? Man, I thought I was flying a 747. When I sold that car, they scraped it for resin. Dad, you courted Mom. How'd you make her your own? We drink a lot of vodka, do methadone. Somebody asked me about my past and did I get high? I've been seriously thinking about my reply. I'm gonna lie, 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 lie. Dad, did you do drugs? No way!
I must have snorted most of Corona.
Dad, did you ever do with any woman besides Mom? Did you ever see that Fellini movie, Satyricon? I was 13 the first time, so good I couldn't speak. They should have wrapped me in a hefty bag, drained me twice a week. Dad, what's the kinkiest that you ever got? Well, it was a mother and daughter upstate that were crazy stupid hot. There was this girl and her dog, we won't get into that. There was these 3 dominatrixes in a 1-room flat. There was a couple times in a church pew, that was a heavenly thing. There was a girl named Ruth in the booth at the Burger King. Hey, my wife's eating a hole through me with her evil eye. My kids got inquiries, they want an honest reply, and I'm gonna lie, 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 lie. Dad, do you have premarital sex? Absolutely not. Now come the tough questions that he's gonna ask. Our prosecutor said the hot stuff of backs. Dad, you ever steal from the store when you didn't have the bucks? Hey, from what I remember, most of the stuff fell off of trucks. Dad, did you ever own a gun? Well, wasn't like I had a license for one. Dad, did you ever steal an automobile for fun? And the owners wouldn't have wanted it when we got done. Dad, I heard you bartended in a place that dealt crack. We were just making sure our clientele would come back.
It's a funny line. It is. Thank you.
He wants the truth. I look him in the eye. I set a good example. One man kind of guy.